Okay, so what you're saying, people, welcome back to my channel, and today we have another weekly Forex analysis. Now, if you're new to my channel, make sure you hit the subscribe button and leave a like, as I'll be dropping a lot of Forex related content in the future, and I'm doing this weekly Forex analysis every week, and you don't want to miss out on that. But today, like I said, we have the weekly Forex analysis, so let me stop talking and let's jump into it. Okay, so the first pair we're going to take a look at is Euro USD. Okay, so we're going to start with the weekly chart for USD. So we recently had a break of the monthly trend line that I've been talking about. Go to the monthly chart. You can see that I've drawn this trend line here, where we have one touch there, a second touch there, a third, and we had a fourth here, but it looks like it's broken through. And then we've had this lower trend line that we've had two touches there, a third and a fourth. So if I zoom in, you can see that prices touched this trend line and then shot back up to touch this one, which we were expecting to go and test. And it looks like we've had a break of that trend line. So I jump to the weekly, you can see that we've had that break, but we've also had that long wick. So that can mean that there's a bit of bearish pressure coming back into the market. There is this resistance level around here. We can see all these all this wicks on the weekly chart, and price tried to break above that and gave us that wick, showing that price got rejected all the way back down. But then again, this could be price just retracing on the lower charts to find some support and to go back and break it, because we do have a break of that monthly trend line. So you could be seeing USD continue to rise, but we are at a significant level, so we are expecting USD to retrace a little bit, to pull back, go find some support before it continues to the upside. But there is a significant break, so you could be expecting that to continue. If you look on the daily chart, we do have this bearish candle coming down, so you could be seeing price fall back down and find some support. This area in the market is not a bad area where price could fall back down, find some support around here and continue on that upwards trend. Okay, so now we're on to USD JPY. Okay, so with USD JPY, we'll start on the daily time frame, and you can see that we had this ascending channel pattern on the daily, but last week we had the break of that same channel, so we're expecting price to continue in that downwards trend, and you can see that's exactly what happened till price got to this area of the market where we had that big bullish candle to the upside. And on the weekly time frame, you can see why price hit this weekly level in the market, so we're bound to have a reaction from it because there's a weekly support level. It's a big level, it has a lot of significance. See, price came down to test it here, shot all the way back up with a lot of momentum. We have this wick into it, price came to test it again, rejection, again rejection. So I'm guessing price can come and reject it again around there. So that's exactly what happened. But then again, if I zoom out, you can see that we're in a bearish market. Price is making those lower highs in the market, so we are in that downwards trend. So the momentum on the higher time frames is to the downside, so it could be a case where we're seeing price have a reaction at that weekly level, then price come back up to go retest this area in the market to get that more bearish momentum it's needed to come and break this weekly support. So that could be the case. But if price does break through this level here, since it did come from our weekly support, so it does have that higher time frame momentum, we could be seeing another push to the upside to go make another lower high that we was talking about on the weekly time frame. So price go make that another lower high before it continues that downwards trend. But then again, it all depends with this level here. If price does break it, we could be seeing that rise. But if price does hold at this level, then we can see that downwards trend continue and possibly go and break that weekly resistance. So for next week, we'll be seeing what happens in the early days to see whether this resistance will hold. If it does, we could be looking for selling opportunities. If it doesn't, we could be looking for buying opportunities. Okay, so let's take a look at USD CAD now. Okay, so I'm going to start with the weekly chart for USD CAD. So you can see that we are in this upwards trend. We have this ascending channel pattern with prices making those higher highs and those higher lows. So we're expecting price to continue in that upwards direction. So if I zoom in, you can see that price is currently at a weekly level. Now this weekly level is acting as resistance around here, is now acting as support around here. So if I jump to the daily, you can see that we have this double bottom which is brewing up. We had this engulfing candle on Thursday, so we could be seeing USD CAD rise from this level and continue that upwards trend on the weekly time frame. So we could be looking for 4 hour entries and 1 hour entries as price moves up and pulls back, and you continue to ride that up to the upside. And if we do have a break of this level, we could be seeing price fall back to areas in the market around here and potentially start a new downwards trend. But for now, we're going to be sticking to that upwards trend idea and keep looking for those buying opportunities. We have come back to retest this area in the market, so looking for buy entries around here to continue the upwards trend in the weekly is sounding like a possibility. So that's what we'll be looking out for USD CAD for the upcoming weeks. Okay, so we're going to move on to see what's happening with Euro GBP. Okay, so for Euro GBP, we'll start on the daily time frame. So we have this upwards trend in the market with this trend line. Price was giving us those higher highs and those higher lows, giving us that upwards trend. And then recently we had a break of that trend line, and it looks like price has been coming back to retest that same trend line and this area in the market here. And if I go to the weekly, you can see it is a good weekly level in the market. Price has reacted well there and again here. So it's a good area in the market where possibly price could be looking to shift direction and turn to the downside. And it looks like the momentum is building up towards the downside, and the bearish pressure is growing in the market. So we could be seeing a new downward trend for UGBP, and targets for this trend could be looking to go all the way down here or all the way down to the bottom around here. Because if I go on the monthly and I zoom in, I'll take away this trend line here, you can see that price is essentially ranging on the monthly chart. Price has been stuck between these two levels for quite some time. So price has come all the way back up to test this upper level here, and we could be seeing price to come all the way back down and go and test the level down there before we get another reaction in the market. So this is where we could be seeing price go to. But again, there's a long time before price hits around those levels, so we'll just be waiting to see. But it does look like we'll be having a new downtrend in the market for UGBP. So for entries, you can be looking on the lower time frames for when price pulls back and retraces, and you can be looking for price to continue in that downwards trend. Now on to NZD CAD. Okay, so for NZD CAD, I'm going to start on the weekly time frame. So I've been talking about this downwards trend in the weekly time frame for some time now. You can see that we've had this trend line with 1, 2, and now we've got a third touch of that trend line. So expecting price to respect that trend line and continue that downwards trend on the monthly chart. So if I zoom onto the daily chart, you can see that price has been moving sideways for the past few days between this level here and this level here. And then on Thursday, we had that breakout to the upside, and we thought potentially we could be having a break of the trend line and seeing price rally to the upside. But it looks like it might have been a false breakout. As you can see on Friday, the next candle came straight back down and closed back up at this level here. So that could be just be a fake breakout, a false breakout to take people's stop losses and to confuse people. And we could be having that downwards trend from the weekly chart. As you can see, if I zoom in, you can see that this week we had that long wick to the upside. Price tried to break it, came all the way down and closed back in with our trend line. So we could be seeing price fall back down now and continue that downwards trend. Obviously on the daily chart, we have this upward trend in the market. We've got this trend line here, so you could be seeing price fall back down here, have a reaction around here, and you can be looking for entries from there as price comes back to retest this area in the market. Or of course price could just fall and completely ignore that trend line and continue to the downside. But you could be looking for entries when price makes that move, looking for pullbacks and retraces on the lower time frames like the 4 hour and the 1 hour to continue that trend all the way to the downside. And if this downtrend does commence, we'd be looking for price to reach areas around here, or if it continues fully, we can be seeing prices go and make new lows in the market or reach this level down here. So next up we have AUD USD. Okay, so for AUD USD, I'm going to start with the monthly time frame actually, because we have this descending channel pattern on the monthly chart. So prices in that downwards trend, making those lower highs in the market and also making those lower lows. So we potentially be having another lower high in the market for price to go and continue that downwards trend to either form a double bottom, or for price to make a new lower low. So if I jump to the weekly, you can see that we've had that test of that same trend line. So price is brewing up for that downwards trend. If we do have a break of this trend line, then we could potentially be seeing price go and form a new upwards trend in the market on the higher time frames, like the weekly and the monthly, or potentially a false breakout to go and hit the 200 moving average on the weekly chart, and then price continue to trickle back down. And if I go on the daily chart, you can see that price has had that bearish candle. Price has been shaping up to go to the downside, so you could potentially be seeing price fall back down from this area in the market. Last week we had this bearish candle here, so I was talking about how we could see potentially price fall back down from this area in the market. So we can see that price actually trickled back up a little bit, formed a new higher high, probably gave a wick to take out a few stop losses, and then we had that bearish candle on Friday. So you could be seeing that move happen from this candle now all the way back to the downside. So I'll be looking for short entries in the market to continue that overall downwards trend in the market. So that's what we'll be looking for AUD/USD. But then again, if we do have a break, we'll be expecting a longer trend in the market, and for price to go and form a new support for us to look for buy opportunities to continue that market to the upside. But for now, we've got this area in the market where price is brewing up for a short trade, and we're expecting AUD/USD to keep falling from there. So looking for entries on the 4 hour and the 1 hour for when price falls back to continue to ride that downward trend could be a good opportunity. Or on the daily chart, looking to take entries on this engulfing candle for price to continue back to the downside. Does look like a good opportunity. Okay, moving on to GBP NZD. Okay, so for GBP NZD, we're going to start with the daily time frame. So we were expecting GBP NZD to reverse soon and make that new trend to the upside, and as you can see, we're having that now. The price came back to retest the weekly trend line that we had drawn. So if I go on the weekly chart, we can see that we had this ascending channel pattern of price ascending to the upside, price making those higher highs and those higher lows. So we were waiting for price to go and retest this level in the market, and you can see price came back to retest that same level, also gave us a double bottom in the market, and price has shot up from there. So price has been rallying for a few days now, so you could be seeing some correction in the market of price falling back, having some retrace, go back to find some support in the market to get some more momentum to carry on that same journey to the upside. And that's where you could be looking for some entries on the 4 hour and the 1 hour time frame for next week. And if I zoom out and go to the weekly, you can see that we've had this ascending channel pattern, and we could be looking for price to go reach this level up here where price failed and came back down, or price go and create another new high in the market and go retest the same upper trend line. But we do have that monthly trend line running through the market here, and if we go to the monthly, you can see we do have that downward trend on GBP NZD. Price is continuously going down, making those lower highs in the market and those lower lows in the market, and we do have this trend line here. So we could be seeing price come up to have that reaction at that monthly trend line, and could be seeing potentially a double top there, and then price fall back down to break this channel and go create some new lows to the downside and keep that overall monthly trend line, that monthly trend going. So that's what we could be looking for in the next few weeks and few months. But for now, we're expecting GBP NZD to continue rising, and on the daily chart, you can see that happening. And so we're just waiting for price to retest some support areas in the market to fall back, have some retrace, and then we can look for longs to continue that on the lower time frames. Let's take a look at CAD JPY. Okay, so for CAD JPY on the daily time frame, it does look like we're still in that range pattern that we've been having for quite a while now. Price moves start between these two levels here. We thought we had a breakout there, price has come back down and come back down to retest the low here, and we've had that big engulfing candle on the daily chart. So we can see price rise again and go retest this area in the market, and then again, if we do have price breakthrough this level, then we can be looking for a retest and continue that to the upside. But then if we do have price come back and break through this level, wait for the retest and wait for price to come back down to the downside. So price can either break to the upside or the downside. We're just going to wait to see what happens. On the weekly chart, price is in that downwards trend, making those lower highs in the market and making those lower lows in the market as well. So potentially you could be seeing price go up and make a new lower high, but then the downwards trend on the weekly chart to carry on. but for now we're just waiting for price to break out through either side of the market, either to the upside or to the downside. And obviously we will have to wait for those retests, because obviously you can see here we had that false breakout and people would have just bought on that break there, and obviously it would have been a losing trade because we had no retest and price just came straight back in. So all we're waiting for is price to break, have that retest, that confirmation that price will continue either to the upside or to the downside. Up next is GBP USD. Okay, so for GBP USD, you can see that on the daily chart we had this ascending channel pattern and the price was making those higher highs and those higher lows. So we're expecting to see if we had another reaction of that same trend line around here to look for price to reverse to go back to the downside. But you can see that price gave us no sign and went straight through. So for the time being, we're going to be ignoring these trend lines and look at the bigger picture. So if I zoom on the week, you can see that we've had this support area in the market where price has been testing since 2016 and failing to break. We had the fourth breakout there with the volatility and price came right back in. And we've had this trend line here always since 2015, and price has been making those tests of that same trend line. We've had one there, a second there, a third, a fourth, and potentially now a fifth. And we could be seeing price fall back down from there to come back all the way and test that weekly trend line. But on the monthly, we can see that price is failing to break this area in the market here, and we could be seeing price look to form that new bull rally to the upside. You can see that price has come down, retest it here, come back up, retest it again. So we could essentially be having a double bottom on the monthly, and price go back and go and create some new highs in the new bullish trend. So that could be the case if we do have a break of this weekly trend line. But again, we don't know if that will happen yet. So again, we're at that trend line, so we'll be looking for short opportunities. It is at a good area in the market. You can see we also have this wick in the market here. So you can see that there's bearish pressure in the market, and we'll be looking to see if GBP USD will fall back to the downside. And again, if it doesn't and it breaks to the upside in the following week, then we could be looking for long opportunities to keep that going all the way up to the upside. And last but not least, GBP CAD. So we've had this upward trend on the daily chart for GBP CAD, and the price has been respecting that trend line. We had price break the trend line for some time. It came back, closed above, and looks like it's respected it and came all the way back up. Last week we were at this stage in the market where price was at this resistance, and we were expecting price to go break this resistance and for price to keep going in that upwards trend to rise to this area in the market here where we have that trend line and the resistance around in the market around there. So you can see price is exactly that. So price is now at this weekly trend line, and you can see price being respecting this trend line for a very long time with 1, 2, multiple touches there, another touch here, another touch there, a lot more touches there with all those wicks, and looks like we had another touch there again. So price is coming trapped between this daily trend line and this weekly trend line here. So we can expect to have a reaction from this level in the market. As you can see, we have all those wicks, so we are expecting price to fall back down because of this area in the market, and it depends whether price will break this daily trend line or break the weekly trend line. And again, if we do have a break of the daily trend line, we'll be seeing a longer trend back to the downside. But if we do have a break of the weekly trend line, then we could be seeing a longer trend to the upside. So it depends what price does, and we have to be able to adapt to both situations. But for now, we are expecting price to have some reaction back to the downside. As you can see that the last day gave us that wick, and we came back to this area in the market. So you can see price fall back down, maybe go retest that trend line, and then go break the weekly to go and form that new uptrend. Because on the monthly, you can see that price, if I move the daily trend line, you can see that price has been coming from this this monthly trend line, creating those new highs in the market. So it's been respecting it quite well. So price has come back from here, and it looks like price can be going to break that weekly to go and test these monthly trend lines out there. But then again, if we do have a break of the daily resistance, we can see price come back to go retest this monthly. Okay, so that brings us to the end of the video. So I hope you all enjoyed watching it, and if you haven't already, make sure you subscribe and leave a like, and drop a comment if you found this helpful or if you have any questions. But till the next one, I'll see you later.